I don't know if you notice, like a lot of our job applications, or at least our announcements say when you send over your resume, make sure you put any menial jobs, including manual labor jobs, because we're interested in that at the law firm, because people that work manual labor know a lot of things, and a lot of kids that grow up without discomfort, without chores, without tough upbringing, they cannot survive the practice of law. Like, you've got to be tough as nails, and as a trial lawyer.
A lot of discomfort.
Yeah, I mean, you're always in discomfort. You're always in like imposter syndrome. Do you know everything? Oh gosh, I don't know everything about the facts, about the law, about what to do next, which is why we have at our law firm like the hive mind with big teams, so we can all rely upon each of our interesting life experiences and traumas to help run a theory of mind over the adverse party, the accuser, our client, to try to piece together what we think is the most likely story that happened. Right? Like, why did they do this? Oh, they were motivated by this. Well, why were they motivated by this? Well, there must have been something that happened that caused that. And then you can go run the investigator down that rabbit trail to see what happened, right? And then after, while you're in law school, what were your vision about what jobs I wanted?
Yeah, so I mean, it was interesting. It shifted a lot, because going into law school, I thought that I wanted to become like a death penalty defense lawyer, especially because a lot of what they do isn't really arguing guilt, or in a sense, it's arguing like, hey, my client did a bad thing, but don't kill them. And so I thought that was interesting.
That's kind of like our relationship. Hey, I done a bad thing on the project you gave me, don't kill me.
I regularly have to, use the skills that I thought I was going to have to use to defend the condemn, to defend myself against you. That is, I mean, that's a great point.
You're very clever in that respect.
Oh, thank you.
You're still walking around on 2 feet.
I'm still walking around. Barely a limp. But then,
I know you're just dying to tell the story about the last time we sparred. I can tell just by the way you hesitated on that. You'll have to tell that story sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I will. I'll gladly tell it. I wasn't actually thinking of that. I was thinking about one time you did yell, "I won't be gaslit" at me. And then slammed the door, and I was sitting there. And the whole office heard.
Well, probably there was something that I said a couple days ago, or maybe, and I was told that I didn't say it, and then I probably said, "Don't gaslight me."
It was
probably for comedic effect.
You were heated. It was like if you just heard, like if somebody had just heard that last part, you being like, "I will not be gaslit," and then storming out, they would have thought it was funny. The actual conversation was a little bit less.
A little bit more heated.
Yeah, a little bit more. I mean, and I wasn't even heated.
So that look in your eyes was not from a flashback to the fight. It was a flashback to the trauma of a hard work day.
Yeah, and I wasn't even like that shaken up. Like, I mean, people came in there like, "Hey, are you okay?" You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, I was mostly fine, and I think
Did you learn a lesson?
I probably did, yeah. And I think I remember thinking like, okay, like that wasn't entirely unwarranted, Like,
was it an unjust reaction? Was I being an unjust ruler?
You know what's funny is that I didn't really think so, but then later on, you were like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have, yelled like that," or something like that. And I said, and I was like, "Oh no, it's okay." I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was anything too much. But some other people who heard it were also like, they might have even come to you, have gone to you and been like, "Hey, Mike, like lighten up a little bit." So it's hard for me to say.
Nobody's told me to lighten up on Austin except for Taylor.
Taylor, yeah.
Everybody else is like, "That's hilarious."
It was Julio who said, he said that he like talked to you and was like, "Hey, I forgot what he said, but he was like he was like said something that he had like talked to you and basically been like, "Hey, don't do that again," or something like that.
Well, I think everybody really likes you here, and everybody wants to come to your defense, and everybody wants you to succeed. And they want you to succeed in the most comfortable, least adversarial way. And what the non-lawyers don't understand around here, we're not raising children, we're raising ferocious trial lawyers. And ferocious trial lawyers that don't make mistakes that cause loss of liberty or loss of money or wasted time and effort and inefficiencies. And it's a very, very serious job. And it's charming that everybody wants to come to your defense, but we're going to keep raising you the hard way, because that's the way we were raised, out there in the trenches. And that's why we're formidable, and we're still standing while so many trial lawyers don't make it, right? There's A lot of gray-haired trial lawyers, and there's probably even more gray-haired former trial lawyers because their hair turned gray quickly, as mine did.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's tough to know. I mean, I have to imagine it's like raising kids when it comes to this. And then sometimes I felt like, okay, like, you know, you didn't have, like, not necessarily even you, but, you know, you or Frank, in my head, I've been like, all right, they didn't have to be that harsh. Like, I couldn't have known that, etc. But then other times, like, a lot of times I'm pretty, like, grateful, you know, when you, like, immediately turn to me and are like, all right, Austin, you know, what day did this take place? Okay. What time did it take place? Okay, you know, when the alleged victim claimed that he grabbed the tree, how did he describe himself? You know what I mean? Like when you ask me those questions, a lot of times I feel like the trial by fire really does help me. Again, some of the times I'm like, hey, come on, I couldn't have known that, but it's hard to say.
Here's the thing, I raised my kids like I wish that I would have been raised, and I was raised very well. But you know, you go through and you think, okay, well, how would I have done things differently? You always want to have a better than the last version, every iteration of something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so for raising kids, the way it should work, we should get better as a civilization over time by learning from our mistakes of others and by modeling, by modeling the correct behavior. And same thing with practice of law. Like I try to look at what do I wish I would have known. And man, the stuff that we're teaching you, we had to learn the hard way. And the reason we remember it is why?
You learned the hard way.
Because we learned the hard way. So you got to have a little bit of pain to have some of these core memories in the practice of law that if it's not remembered in the midst of battle, you don't die, you don't physically experience pain, but your client experiences great pain because a mistake was made. I see mistakes all the time at trial. I see mistakes all the time opposing parties make. And we capitalize on them and we destroy them when they make those mistakes. Like this is, I mean, you know, we talk about the art of war a lot around here. And in fact, there's a picture of a wall of a sculpture and the little engraving underneath says, Sun Tzu's The Art of War, an ancient Chinese litigation manual. You know, and it's because there's obviously lessons to be, you know, learned from metaphorically. But if you really think about it, you know, we're not in combat, but if we lose, people with guns put our clients in cages if you lose a criminal case. You know, you lose a civil case and you say, nuh-uh, judge, I'm not gonna do it. People with guns will come and make you do what the order or the judgment says. They'll take your kids. They'll seize your assets. They'll seize your property. They'll kick you out of the building you're not supposed to be in.
And right? It's injustice. I mean, you know, even if it's losing in a civil case, it's injustice.
Well, you know, what you don't want to have is a client losing because all the facts didn't get told or all of the tools that could have been used to get the facts needed for trial weren't accomplished, or things came into evidence that are against the rules, and the rules exist because you don't want unfair things coming in. Like, I mean, that's the rules of evidence are codification of what a fact finder should hear to make a just decision. It's a beautiful thing. We don't treat it like, we don't give it the respect it deserves, right? Like there's these certain assumptions that, okay, hearsay. Well, why is hearsay such a big thing? Well, because it wouldn't be fair if someone came in and said, somebody said this, if I don't have a chance to confront that person and find out if what they said is true. Like that's just not fair.
And it's interesting because a lot of aspects of American law, I can see in my mind's eye, like just how brilliant and just how well it works, at least when you have to, at least when this is, basically like, I can kind of see the beauty and how impressive some of the aspects of our legal system are. I don't quite have that like image of the evidence code. You know, to me, it's still a lot of rules. I'm sure it'll develop over time.
But like I always preach on the fact that when I was a young lawyer, I would sit at home at night and I read Kirkpatrick's treatise. There's like this core memory, like it's in my DNA. Like the evidence code is in my DNA. I could be at trial, leaning over, talking to co-counsel, and then somebody says something and it animates me and objection, calls for speculation. I'm on my feet. I don't even know why I'm on my feet. Then I hear sustain. It's like it's like magic. Like I've been programmed. I self-programmed the evidence code over like as a overlay algorithm that all information in the courtroom flows through, and then if it gets caught in my mind, somehow my subconscious animates me to object.
My thought.
And yeah, it's wonderful. And I want everybody to have that experience. And the only way to have that experience is to train your mind to think that way. Is to go to trial and work those muscles out, right?
And I think it's worth noting, you know, what you're saying about learning the hard way and about how trial is, it's combat, it's war. I mean, it's also literally what I asked for. You know, like I wanted to learn from the best, and so and to be the best that I could be. And so some of the things, you know, about him, I didn't think I'd hear, I won't be gaslit yelled at me. But you know what I mean? Like, like a lot of like the tough practices and stuff are things that I very much wanted. You know what I mean?
We don't want you to have to go to trial and mess up and learn the hard way. Because the client suffers, right? And I see people mess up in trial all the time. Like they let evidence in that shouldn't be let in. They make the wrong objections. They're not skilled trial lawyers. And it's not because, oh, they're young, they didn't have time to learn. Man, you can go run 1,000 trials in your head before you walk into the courtroom. And if you're not running thousands of trials through your head, you're lazy or you're stupid. Or, I mean, I don't know any other way. Like, you don't care? You're not a winner? Like, why do people go to trial and not know the rules of evidence? I mean, maybe it's because they had poor leadership and poor mentorship, and nobody ever told them, and nobody ever shamed them when they didn't know the answer. You know? That's what I think. And that's why we're training trial warriors, not people that just hold briefcases and go in and give constitutionally minimally satisfactory representation. That's what I envision for the perfect law firm, which we'll never have, but we will aspire to be, will be people that know certain things and know how to think about certain things in a way that if you think about them that way, it has an output of ideas that can be novelly leveraged for a client's benefit in the pursuit of justice. Mm-hmm. That's what I envision for a law firm.